All right. Well, it's just a little after 7 o'clock on July 28th, 2020. This is a virtual Ormond Beach City Commission meeting. We are back in virtual mode because of a spike in the COVID-19 cases in the state of Florida. We're having a little bit of a spike. It looks like the numbers are starting to trend downward, which is a positive thing. And we're hoping maybe later in August or certainly by early September, we'll be back to our regular socially distanced meetings in person. But for right now, out of an abundance of caution to keep everybody safe, we're going to have these virtual meetings as long as we are allowed to by law. And of course, that's the governor's executive order that governs that. So just so everybody is aware and on the same page, I'd like to call the meeting to order and thank you all for being here. I'll do my introductions now. We have with us Commissioner Dwight Selby from
Troy, it's your turn. Go for it. Oh no, the mayor's here.
There he goes. There he is.
All right. Commissioner Susan Persis from Zone 3. Commissioner Rob Littleton from Zone 4. And our staff members that are available and present virtually are City Manager Joyce Shanahan, Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley, City Attorney Randy Hayes, City Clerk Colby Salento, and then we also have staff behind the scenes, our recording secretary, Cassidy Ritz, our public information officer, Jen Elston, and our IT information technology manager, Ned Huta. At this time, I will ask Pastor Chris Chandler from Lighthouse Christ Presbyterian Church to give us the invitation.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. It is so good to see you tonight and to see everybody, to know that you are keeping healthy. Thank you, brother. Let's bow our heads and let's pray together tonight. Oh, sweet Lord, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the grace that you lavish our lives with. We thank you for the blessings that are indeed fresh every morning. We thank you for this opportunity to come together as city leaders and to be thinking about and planning for the present and future of our great community. Lord, we pray for wisdom from beyond ourselves, that you would descend upon us tonight and give us clarity and the discussions and the decisions that will be made. We want to lift up tonight not only our mayor and his family, but our entire city council, for the staff, for the clerk's office, for our first responders, the fire department, the police department. Lord, just give them your direction, your provision in these seasons. And Lord, we thank you for our community. What a blessing it is to be servants of such a great town here in Ormond Beach. Lord, I pray that it would be a time in our history when our love for each other, our love for you, our love for this city, that it would shine and that the residents would experience a blessing by being a part of this great town. We pray all this in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Chris, for that great invocation. And I know your church, which is my church, was virtual and then went back to non-virtual, in person, which everybody wanted to get back to. And now you as well are back to virtual, and we're looking forward to the day we can come back in person. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Perfect. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And now we are just coming out of our budget workshop, and we are on adoption of the fiscal year 2020-2021 tentative millage rate. And I'll ask the city clerk to read the resolution.
Resolution number 2020-79, a resolution adopting proposed millage rates for the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year, establishing the date, time, and place for the first public hearing on the proposed millage rates and the tentative budget, directing communication, expressing legislative intent, and setting forth an effective date. This is resolution number 2020-79, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. And per Florida statute, I am required to state that the tentative millage rate for the city of Ormond Beach necessary to fund the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget is 3.9068 mils. This rate is equal to the rolled back rate of 3.9068 mils. The tentative debt service millage rates are 0.0310 for the 2003 general obligation bond sinking fund and 0.0930 for the 2010 general obligation bond sinking fund. This is a public hearing. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak or ask questions prior to adoption of the tentative millage rate? And I'll ask the city clerk if we've received any comment cards or have any persons who are registered to speak.
No, we did not.
Thank you. Then I would ask for a motion and a second to adopt the tentative millage rates.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to adopt the millage rate back to rollback that was read by the city clerk.
Thank you.
To second that.
Great.
Sorry.
I heard seconds. Yep. I heard a second from Commissioner Persis and a third from Commissioner Selby. All right. The tentative operating millage of 3.9068 mils is equal to the rolled back millage rate. The resolution also includes adoption of the tentative debt service millage rates at 0.0310 for the 2003 general obligation bond sinking fund and 0.0930 for the 2010 general obligation bond sinking fund. And at this time, I'll ask the city clerk to call the vote.
I can't hear you.
Hear me?
Colby,
Now we can.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
yes. And at this time, I'll announce that the tentative operating millage rate is set at 3.9068 mils, which is equal to the rollback millage rate of 3.9068 mils. And that was with a unanimous vote of the commission after a lot of hard work, not only from staff and the budget advisory board, but our commission as well put a lot of effort into that. It's been a difficult budget year, and we can take the moment and provide comments, commission, if you'd like to at this time. And if anybody wants to go first, just speak up for me because I can't see everybody at the same time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to jump in on this. This is Commissioner Kent.
Deputy Mayor Kent, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm going to repeat what I said at our budget meeting before this commission meeting, is that I am so proud of this commission. We are fiscally responsible. We are very careful with the taxpayers' dollars every single day. And because of that, during a global pandemic, we are going to be able to give our taxpayers and our residents, our constituents, some relief this year. I'm super proud of that, and I'm super proud of this commission for unanimously going to that decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anyone else?
I would like to say something,
Commissioner-
Mayor Partington, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, I just want to repeat what I said earlier also. I just want to thank really Kelly McGuire and Chris Boyle for working on all this, Chris Bile for working so hard on, our budget to make it so that, many of the homeowners will see a decrease in their tax bill. I think it's amazing during this pandemic. Also, I kind of want to just piggyback on what Commissioner Kent said there too. And we have so many people, Joyce Shanahan, and so many people that work hard to keep our city fiscally safe and healthy. And I just want to commend everybody for that. And I'm just so happy for all of our residents.
Absolutely. Thank you for those comments. Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to jump in if I may.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Selby.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's pretty amazing that in light of the current economic situation where the city is facing a reduction in over $1 million in the current fiscal year in sales tax revenue alone, or anticipated sales tax revenue, that we're able to adopt the rollback rate, which will actually produce a reduction in taxes. A typical homeowner who with an assessed valuation of $200,000 will actually pay $13.87 less than they paid last year. So that's pretty amazing. The fact that we have no increase in the costs in our utilities. We have the lowest utility costs in the entire county. And we're either the second or third lowest rate of all the cities in the county. So that's pretty amazing. And in light of, and that is taken in the context of what I believe is the premier quality of life, that I believe Ormond Beach is the community of choice, that people who live in Ormond Beach love it. And there are lots of other people who also want to experience that. And so with all that, I say thank you to staff and to this commission for putting us in a position where we could weather this storm, not just well, but exceedingly well. So thank you to each and every one of you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner Littleton.
Yes. Mayor, I would like to thank city staff for doing a wonderful job presenting the budget to us. Also, I do want to thank prior commissions and this commission for setting us up in the position to utilize the Revenue Stabilization Fund to help us weather this storm, this COVID storm, and give some relief to our residents and business owners. It's quite something to be proud of. Not many cities can do it, and we're something special that we have the team and the commission to be able to put it together. I'm very proud to be a commissioner in this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Littleton. And I'll echo all of the commission's comments. I think they're directly on point. We're not only meeting our obligations and not having severe budget cuts that some cities are having to implement, but we're doing that all the while maintaining our staffing at the level that it is. At least at this point, we're fairly comfortable that there are not going to be layoffs or any problems this year. And so that is as a result of the hard work of staff and the Budget Advisory Board. And I'll leave it at that. And we'll move on to audience remarks. Let's see. I'll ask our city clerk at this time if we received any remarks or if anybody registered to speak during the during the audience remarks times. I don't have any cards, but I just want to double check with you, Colby.
No, we did not.
Okay, great. Good deal. And we will move on to approval of the minutes. The minutes from the June 9th, 2020 City Commission meeting have been sent to the commission for review, posted to the city's website. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a voice vote on that. Just need a motion and a second.
I move approval of the minutes from the June 9th commission meeting, June 9th, 2020.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and just let me double check real quick with Deputy Mayor Kent, because I think we might have lost him for a second. I don't know if there was a power surge.
No,
And
no, I'm here, Mayor. Yep, I'm good to go.
Perfect. Okay. In that case, we're properly moved and seconded, and it's a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Great. We'll show those passing unanimously, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Colby, were there any cards presented as far as people interested in speaking on consent agenda items?
No, there was not.
All righty. And are there any commissioners who wish to pull any items from the consent agenda? Doesn't sound like it. Just need a motion and a second for approval.
I move to
I'll move the consent agenda.
second.
Great. Colby, please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And now would be the appropriate time if any commissioners wish to speak to any of the consent agenda items.
Yeah, Mayor, I would like to address a couple of items.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Selby.
Okay, thank you. First of all, item A, that's the renewal of our Microsoft software licensing agreement. And I just want to point out to anybody that might be, listening or hearing this in the future that it's a 3-year renewal, and it's a 4% increase. And while we've adopted a rollback, which is the same dollars we got last year, we have things like this, the Microsoft software, which is absolutely essential to run the city. And those costs continue to rise every single year. I'd also like to comment on item C. This is the actual lease purchase of the 2 new fire trucks that are fully equipped. A little over $1 million, $1.1 million. We're doing a lease with an option to purchase, $135,000 a year for 3 years. That's a 2.95% interest rate, which is amazingly low, and a really cost-effective, brilliant way to do it. At the end of the 10-year lease, we own the vehicles for free. And then I'd also like to comment on item E. This is the interconnect with Holly Hill on the reclaimed water. And this should produce at least 500,000 gallons a day, could produce as much as 1 million gallons a day, and certainly help us dramatically in the droughts that we've experienced this past spring and early summer. And the total, well, I don't know if it's a total cost, but the cost at this time is a one-time $77,000 expense in order to not only provide this incremental flow to our residents, but that every gallon that we take from them is a gallon that doesn't end up in the intercoastal waterway. So that's good for all of us. And the final item that I wanted to comment on is item N, which is the request for proposals on the Park and Rec update on the master plan. I'm very glad to see that this has come together so quickly. I mean, they're telling us that they're getting ready to put out an RFP for this. Staff is telling us that, but they put this together quickly, came out of our budget workshop where the funds were available to do this. It's a 15-year-old plan right now. It'll be 16 years old by the time this update is completed. And the one thing, as I read through the proposal, the one comment I wanted to make was that you know, we're going to spend quite a bit of money on this, probably in excess of $100,000 to this plan update. And what I didn't see in what I read was an opportunity for this consultant, which I anticipate will be world-class, that we'll get a world-class consultant to help us plan for the next 5, 10, 15 years on our recreation facilities. And I didn't see a lot of language in there where we would get input from them on what they see in other places and what the trends are in the future, and bring that to us. I know it's implicit. I know that we will get that from any consultant, but I don't see that in there in the actual document. So I would throw that out there to Mr. Carolyn and Ms. Shanahan as maybe something they could look at, and specifically challenge the selected consultant to look at those things, those trends that are happening in recreation and leisure services nationwide, maybe worldwide, and bring those to bring that kind of input to our plan update. And with that, that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Selby. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, yes, I'd like to mention item E, the interconnect of our reuse with Holly Hill.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to take a moment and let those listening online, and of course our commission and our city, know we have a great relationship with our sister city of Holly Hill. And I want to thank the leadership of Mayor Chris Villa and the entire city commission. They had reused water that was going into the Halifax River, and that will not be happening in the near future. It will come to Ormond Beach. And we have a great problem in Ormond Beach, and that is our reused water is wildly successful. So much so that, Commissioner Selby, I have your residents reaching out to, I know you and me, about the low pressure they've experienced, and the city's found the problem and they're going to fix the problem. But we're down to 2 days a week that we can water with using reuse. And this agreement with Holly Hill will allow us to not pull more water from the pristine aquifer. And it's a great relationship with our sister city. So I wanted to say thank you to staff, this commission, and especially to the city of Holly Hill for being such great neighbors.
Amen. Amen. Anyone else?
Yes, I had something, Mayor Partington, I'd like to say.
Yes. Commissioner.
Item O, I was very excited to see that we're renewing the lease for the Stanley steamer Replica and the Ormond Garage. You know, we all love the Ormond Garage. It's great. And when people go in there, that's one of the first things they look at. And I hope we can continue to do this in the future. Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And as far as the fire trucks, I'm excited about that. Looking forward to a couple of push-in ceremonies that we'll all be able to attend. Commissioner Selby did a great job kind of laying out the explanation of those contracts. Reuse, thank you, Deputy Mayor Kent, for bringing that up as well and noting Holly Hill's cooperation. Thank you to Mayor Villa. I had some phone conversations with him, and really they were great about working with us. And it is a win both for our cities and their cooperation and for the environment. And so at some point in the near future, once we're allowed to meet in person again, I think we may have a like a ribbon cutting or a valve turning ceremony to celebrate that cooperation and the great things that it'll do for the environment. And then finally, item N, Parks and Rec. I'm so proud that during the pandemic, and this is part of our budget talks as well, we're not stopping planning for the future. We're still moving ahead with many of the things that we want to be doing. And this is something that we could have put off, but we know how important Parks and Rec leisure services is to our community. And so we're moving forward, always looking for ways to have a better master plan. And I think as part of that component, not only what Commissioner Selby mentioned, but we could also look at making sure, even though soon, hopefully, we'll get back to normal and not have to be socially distanced, looking at ways that should something like this ever happen again, we can carry forward in a better manner and still be socially distant. So I hope that's part of the component of that as well. And with that, we'll move, unless anybody had anything else, we will move to public hearings. And I will open the public hearings and ask the city clerk to read 8A.
Ordinance number 2020-08, an ordinance amending the utilities element and recreation and open space element of the comprehensive plan regarding the use of 2 parcels of city-owned land at the intersection of Airport Road and West Granada Boulevard, providing for the transmission of copies of the notice and amendment to the state reviewing agencies, the County of Volusia, and any other local government or governmental agency requesting a copy, providing for public hearings, providing for conflicting ordinances, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-08, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. I don't have any cards.
Move
Just-
approval, Mr. Mayor.
Great.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Colby, please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes, and that brings us to 8B.
Ordinance number 2020-28, an ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Administration, Article 2, Administration and Enforcement, Section 1-14, Development Orders and Building Permits of the Land Development Code to A, create an expiration date and required inspection timeframes for the site inspection, SPRC engineering permit, B, require the electronic submittals of building permits, C, require building reviews within 30 calendar days of a complete submittal, and D, create an administrative variance section that is consistent with Section 4-03 of the Land Development Code, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-28, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. Again, I don't have any cards.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes, and we move to 8C.
Ordinance number 2020-29, an ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Administration, Article 3, Definitions and Acronyms, Section 1-22, Definitions of Terms and Words, and Chapter 3, Performance Standards, Article 3, Off-Street Parking, Circulation and Loading, Section 3-26, Off-Street Parking Requirements of the Land Development Code, to allow electric vehicle charging stations within parking lots, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-29, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. I do not have any cards or requests to speak.
Move approval.
I second the motion.
Great. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes, and we will move to 8D.
Ordinance number 2020-30, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, District and General Regulations, Article 3, General Regulations, Section 2-50, Accessory Uses, Subsection N, Fences and Walls of the Land Development Code, to A, add language prohibiting chain link fencing in commercial zoning districts consistent with Section 3-68 of the Land Development Code. B, allow the ability for wall heights of 8 feet in height where the ability for wall heights of 8 feet in height where a non-residential use abuts single-family uses. C, modify the temporary construction fencing standards, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-30, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. I do not have any cards or requests to speak.
Move approval?
Move.
20
I'll second the motion.
Great. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And we will move to 8E.
Ordinance number 2020-31, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, District and General Regulations, Article 3, General Regulations, Section 2-50, Accessory Uses, Subsection R, Generators of the Land Development Code, to establish a 5-foot setback in residential zoning districts in the rear yard for generators, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-31, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. I have no cards.
Move approval of ordinance number 2020-31.
Second.
Great. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And we will move to 8F.
Ordinance number 2020-32, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Performance Standards, Article 3, Off-Street Parking, Circulation and Loading, Section 3-27, Reduction in Parking Spaces of the Land Development Code, to incorporate existing parking space reductions in multimodal corridors into Section 3-27, Reduction in Parking Spaces of the Land Development Code, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-32, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. No cards.
I'll move it,
move-
Mayor. Ordinance 2020-32.
Second the motion.
Great. Thank you. Any other discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And we'll move to 8G.
Ordinance number 2020-33, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Plan Review and Subdivision, Article 1, Site Plan Review Procedures, Section 4-06, Information to be included in site plan application of the Land Development Code, to require the electronic submittal of site plans to the Site Plan Review Committee, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-33, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards.
Move approval of ordinance number 2020-33.
Second.
Great. Any other discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And I'll point out, just for anybody watching, those were second readings, and we had some healthy discussions at the last meeting that essentially clarified and satisfied almost any concerns or points on all of those issues. So that made tonight's meeting a little bit easier as we ran through those. And now we'll move to continuing our public hearings, move to 8H.
Ordinance number 2020-38, an ordinance amending paragraph C, official zoning map of section 2-01 established of Article 1, establishment of zoning districts and official zoning map of Chapter 2, District and General Regulations of the City of Ormond Beach Land Development Code by amending the official zoning map to rezone real property as a result of the comprehensive plan amendments that implemented the provisions of the first amended interlocal service boundary agreement, ISBA, between the City of Ormond Beach and the County of Volusia, authorizing revision of the official zoning map, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2020-38, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. Again, I don't have any cards or requests to speak, but I will ask our planning director, Stephen Spraker, to speak on this item.
Good evening. This is a zoning map amendment. The city adopted the first interlocal service boundary agreement in August 2019. As part of that, we're required to assign city land use and city zonings to the 11 properties that were part of that first amended ISBA. The land use amendments occurred in January 2020, and this action seeks to assign a city zoning. On the map, it shows the 11 different properties. The city staff tried to assign city zoning consistent with what was existing in Volusia County. Next slide, please. The planning board reviewed this item and recommended approval 6-0, and city staff is also recommending approval. This action is required based on the interlocal service boundary agreement amendment, and here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Stephen. Any questions for Stephen? All right, I just need a motion and a second for discussion.
Move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? Colby, please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes, and we will move to 8I.
Ordinance number 2020-39, an ordinance amending paragraph C, official zoning map of section 2-01 established of article 1, establishment of zoning districts and official zoning map of chapter 2, district and general regulations of the City of Ormond Beach Land Development Code by amending the official zoning map to rezone certain real property totaling 0.18 plus or minus acres located at 806 Cordova Avenue from Volusia County R5 urban single-family residential to Ormond Beach R3 single-family medium density, authorizing revision of official zoning map, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2020-39, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. And again, no cards or requests to speak, but I will ask Stephen Spraker, our planning director, to speak on this item.
This property annexed into the city based on the connection to sewer. We've done the annexation. We previously did the land use, and the purpose of this item is to assign a city zoning of R3, which is also existing in this area. So we are seeking a zoning map amendment. Next slide, please. The planning board did recommend approval 6-0 of this item, and staff is also recommending approval rezoning the property to the Ormond Beach R3 zoning district. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Any questions for Stephen? Great. I just need a motion and a second.
I move approval of ordinance number 2020-39.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes, and I will close the public hearings and we will move to 9A.
Ordinance number 2020-34, an ordinance annexing one parcel of real property into the City of Ormond Beach, said property being generally located along the west side of Clyde Morris Boulevard, approximately 650 linear feet south of the intersection of Clyde Morris Boulevard and Hand Avenue, being commonly located at 350 Clyde Morris Boulevard. Parcel ID number 4229-00-00-0040, setting forth zoning privileges and obligations regarding the property, redefining the territorial boundaries of the City of Ormond Beach to include the property, redesignating the boundaries of Zone 4 of the City of Ormond Beach to include the property, providing for transmission, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-34. 2020-34, read by title only.
Thank you, Colby. I do not have any cards, no request to speak. Just need a motion.
Mayor, I move for approval ordinance number 2020-34.
Second.
Thank you, commissioners. Any discussion? I will let you know that the applicant, Mark Doust, is available for comments or questions if needed, but I don't know that we need any. Colby, please call the vote.
Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes, and we will move to 9B.
Ordinance number 2020-35, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Boats, Docks, and Waterways of the City of Ormond Beach Code of Ordinances by adding a new article to be numbered and entitled Article 3, Casson Park Boat Docks, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020-35, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards.
Move approval, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Persis. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And with that, we will move to report, suggestions, and requests. And tonight we start with City Manager Joyce Shanahan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
First of all, I want to thank the commission for their tremendous effort with the budget development process. You all spent many hours of deliberation and meeting with staff to achieve a budget that was balanced and was protecting the taxpayers' interest. And we are pleased that we were able to present that to you tonight. We're grateful for the Revenue Stabilization Fund and for the long tradition that this commission has held in safeguarding its assets by having ample fund balance well exceeding what our internal requirements are. So thank you for that. It's a big step forward for us. The state of emergency has been extended by the governor through September 5th. However, the virtual meeting extension only goes through August 7th. Our next meeting is for August 4th, so we plan that to be a virtual meeting. We don't have any special hearings or any items of particular audience interest there. So unless I hear otherwise from you, we will plan to make that a virtual meeting.
Great.
Okay. Some future meetings to be mindful of. Tuesday, August 18th. We have that scheduled tentatively for an in-person meeting. I want to remind you that it's the primary election day, but that shouldn't hamper our efforts at all. And then your budget meetings are, I believe they're September 9th. Let me double check my calendar here. September 9th, and that's a Wednesday, and September 23rd. They're on a Wednesday because the state law gives precedence to the county council and the school boards to choose their meeting dates. And since their meetings are typically the same times of ours, they get preference. So please note your calendar for September 9th and September 23rd. As you know, we're still under a state of emergency. The cases had been rising. They're starting to level off a little bit. We have our fireworks that were tentatively planned for September 5th, and we will still be under a state of emergency at that time. Staff is recommending that we cancel that. I can bring an item to you back at your next meeting so you can discuss that further, but I'd like to know if anybody has any particular feedback at this time. Most of our other sister cities have canceled their fireworks this year.
Commission, I'll open it up to each of you. I hate to do it, but I feel like we're just in a tough time, a difficult situation, and out of an abundance of caution, making sure that we're providing the safest options possible, that this year we probably have to forego any fireworks celebration. We've already missed the 4th, obviously, and since this virus is still washing through, hopefully we're at the tail end of it, but we don't want to do anything that might fire back up a resurgence. And so, again, out of an abundance of caution, I think that's probably staff's recommendation is probably the best one, but certainly want to hear from each of you.
Mayor Partington, I definitely agree. I had that on my notes to bring that up if it wasn't brought up tonight. I hate to cancel it also because I know so many people love and look forward to fireworks on our bridge. It's just such a special occasion always. But I think in light of just keeping everyone safe that we need to do it. So I want to thank you for, for bringing that up, and unfortunately, I think we do need to cancel.
Thank you, Commissioner Persis. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to comment on this. I'm disappointed that I think I agree with the notion that it wouldn't be prudent to host the event on Labor Day weekend, primarily for the same reason that I had when we originally delayed the event, postponed the event, which is that it's a community event. All of our citizens are invited, and it would be extremely difficult, if not really impossible, for us to provide safe social distancing for those who are most vulnerable. And we have a very large percentage of our population that falls into that most vulnerable category. However, I don't think we should cancel. I think we should postpone. And I'm going to propose that we postpone to Thanksgiving weekend, which would allow us to, first of all, it gives us several months to allow this situation to clear up. It also gives us hope that that we haven't given up, but we're delaying, and it also could be incorporated into a kickoff for the Christmas season for the retailers and restaurants and other entertainment facilities that have been so dramatically impacted by all this. So I'd like to propose that we don't cancel, but that we postpone, and that we postpone to Thanksgiving weekend.
Thank you, Commissioner. Either Deputy Mayor Kent or Commissioner Little have thoughts?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. I agree that the Labor Day timeline is just too aggressive with what's going on with the pandemic situation right now. But I really agree with Commissioner Selby. In fact, I was going to recommend that we postpone until election night to really celebrate the opportunity that we have in this country to freely get out and vote. That might be a little aggressive timeline as well. I really like Commissioner Selby's idea of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend and kind of gearing up for Christmas right around the corner. So I could get behind that completely. As all of you, I'm sure you're saddened as well that, we're not going to be able to have this during Labor Day. But I'd rather see a postponement than a cancellation as well.
Understood. And Commissioner Littleton.
Thank you, Mayor. It definitely seems like society's sort of taking this snowball, and many organizations are canceling events and the such. So I think it's prudent that we do the same. I just don't think the fireworks would have the same oomph anyways. I have a question for Ms. Shanahan. When do you need sort of a hard answer on this?
So I need an answer to get some refund. I believe it's by, let me check my notes here. I need to tell them by August 14th to cancel without a fee. If you're looking to postpone to a date certain, we would have to check with them to see what their availability is, because they provide fireworks, countrywide. So I don't know if Thanksgiving weekend is a possible date, but we can certainly check for that.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I don't have an opinion on the postponement yet. I would like staff to gather some information. And then once they gather that, I'd much rather make a decision based on that. But as far as Labor Day goes, I'm for canceling it.
Great. I think that's fair enough. All of us. Yeah, Commissioner Persis.
I just wanted to add to that. Since our city manager is going to check on the dates and check on certain things, would it be, in case it's not available to be done on Thanksgiving, what about the Christmas parade that night? So many people are out, and if we can't do it Thanksgiving, then we could do it the night of the Christmas parade, and that would be kind of fun too. So just to maybe those two dates, maybe we could look at both of those.
That's great. Yep. I think everybody's in agreement that we're not going to have them on Labor Day, Mrs. City Manager. And if we can maybe look at those future dates and make the decision as to whether postpone or not, then we can move forward at the next meeting, and you'll have maybe a couple options for us at that time.
Yes, sir, I will. I shall be sure to do that. So thank you for that guidance. I have a couple of other comments. As you know, during this pandemic, you all issued a declaration of emergency. One of the things that the declaration of emergency does, and it continues as long as the governor's does, is it allows the city manager to make a determination about whether or not special event permits are issued. We have had some requests for special event permits. Most notably, Biketoberfest is coming up in October. We've talked to some folks that have requested permits for that and said, look, it's just too early to tell at this point in time. I've talked to my fellow cities, and I believe Port Orange and perhaps DeLand have tied or linked their issuance of special event permits to the governor's step-by-step reopening plan, phase 3 in particularly. I think by linking it to phase 3, that gives everybody some certainty of, when we'll start back issuing special permits. So I'd just like some feedback on that. If you all could tell me how you feel about that, I would be grateful for that.
Great. And we'll just go down the line with that in reverse order. So Commissioner Littleton's not going last every single time, but Commissioner Littleton.
Thank you, Mayor. So I guess the real big thing here is a lot of people come to Biketoberfest and Daytona Beach, and we haven't gotten word from them exactly what they're going to do. It seems that, according to the News Journal, the mayor, Henry, is opposed to moving ahead with the event. That's sort of a headline quote from today. So, if Daytona doesn't have it, I really don't know how many people are going to come anyways, and sort of what type of dampening that puts on the event. So, I don't know, just all that stuff. What did you want me to actually give you the guidance on, Joyce?
In particular, just when the COVID event started was during Bike Week. And the very last day of Bike Week, Daytona Beach at 6 o'clock in the evening on a Friday night noticed everyone that they were pulling the permits, the existing permits for Bike Week. I don't want to get into that position again. It was, I spent many hours on the phone with Port Orange and Holly Hill because they have small Bike Week events like we do. I think we're just looking to have some general direction. I did reach out to the city manager yesterday from Daytona Beach to find out if they were planning on putting a a kibosh on Bike Week events, and I had not heard yet back from him.
I think it would be prudent if we followed Daytona's lead. It kills me to say that about anything almost, but if Daytona Beach doesn't issue permits, I think it would make sense for us not to also.
Yep. And I'm not sure what Daytona is going to do. I think it makes a lot of sense to tie it to the phase 3 governor's guidelines, but let's hear from everybody else. Commissioner Persis.
Yes, I would be a little nervous about having Bike Week right now. I mean, if the trends are beginning to go down slowly but surely, and then we have Bike Week because so many people go out and it is close quarters during Bike Week, wherever, even in Ormond Beach, it is at our restaurants and on US 1 and all the places that have events and so forth. I just don't know that it's a good idea. I mean, if the governor, puts us in, I guess, stage 3, then, and we can do it, maybe that's okay. But I would be very leery of it at this point.
Understood. Deputy Mayor, thank you, Commissioner. Deputy Mayor Kent.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And those that know me know that just about every fiber in my being wants everything to be open right now. That being said, we just made a decision that 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks before this, we're not going to allow our residents to come together to have a fireworks celebration that we postponed for the 4th of July. Commissioner Persis is absolutely correct when she talks about the crowds that will be there. And with a good conscience, there's no way with what's going on globally, but to me, more importantly, locally in the state of Florida, what we're seeing every day, I just don't think it's a wise decision at this point to say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and allow those permits. Ms. Shanahan, you are a smart woman, and to come to this commission to get their feeling, because you can make this decision on your own, but you're right. Not a good position to be in to issue those permits and things are turning badly. And then we've got to pull the plug and, people are feeling jaded and, there's many emotions on this issue. But for me, here's the bottom line. The safety of our residents, and I'm going to become very specific right here, our elderly residents, and we have a lot of them in Ormond Beach. And yes, I'm going to talk about my mom and dad for a quick moment. Anything we can do to keep our elderly population safe is a good, healthy decision. So, Mr. Mayor, I hope you picked up what I was laying down there.
Got it. Yep. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And Commissioner Selby.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, Ms. Shanahan, I think I'm guessing that it's not actually a hard, fast decision that you're making tonight. It's really just you're not going to issue permits yet, and you may not issue them even for the event, depending how the state fares over time. Is that an accurate way to say it?
Well, quite honestly, people have to make arrangements for Bike Week. So I can't wait very long to let them know that we're not going to issue permits, because they have to make site preparations. They have to organize their vendors and whatnot. And so the sooner I know, the better. I hear a majority of you indicating, I think, that it's probably not prudent at this time. I'm afraid to wait for Daytona, because they might wait till the last minute, and then we're stuck like we were back in March when they pull the plug at the very last minute. So if I can get some general guidance from you about Bike Week, I'm comfortable with that. Whether we wait for all special event permits until phase 3 reopening, I can certainly revisit that with you at another time.
And when you use the term Bike Week, you actually mean Biketoberfest, right?
I'm sorry, yes, Biketoberfest, that's correct.
Okay.
I will tell you that the Prince of Peace have canceled their fall festival. I am a little concerned that the churches will making another round. A lot of them have fall festivals. They missed their summer festival. I think that's problematic as well, for those close quarters with lots of young children and people gathering, especially when you haven't had an opportunity to get together for a while. So I am concerned about those, but I don't have any of those pending at this point.
Joyce,
So, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, to interrupt. I just wondered if we could make this decision at the next meeting, which is a week away, August 4th. And that way, give us all a little time to do some more research and not make a too hasty of a decision, but that still gives you over 2 months before Biketoberfest gets here, if that would be enough time. And then,
Sure, that'll be perfect. I'll put together a small agenda item on it so we can have some discussion about that.
that's great. And Commissioner Selby, again, sorry to interrupt, please.
Yeah,
Continue.
that's quite right. I just, the Rossmeyers, Destination Daytona have a big, gigantic capital investment and interest in this event. So I would certainly like to hear from them what their plans are. Obviously, they're in the city of Ormond Beach, but then also I'm curious in the unincorporated areas on North US 1. I mean, are they all subject to? Would they all be subject to this? This limitation if it were to come to pass?
Well, they're in our interlocal service boundary area, so they would be subject to that as well, I believe. And actually, the Rossmeyers did approach us a couple of weeks ago, and we said, look, we don't want to make that decision right now because they're already wanting to know what the decision's going to be for Biketoberfest. So we really do need to move forward with that. And certainly we'll reach out to them again and let them know that we're going to be discussing this at our next meeting.
So, and not dig too deep in this because I know you're going to present it at the next meeting, but like the Boot Hill Saloon up there on North US 1, which I believe is in the county. I don't think that's in the city. All of their outdoor activities, that's what we're talking about?
Yes, I believe so. I can defer to Stephen to confirm whether or not they're in our interlocal service boundary area and we get to govern those kinds of issues.
Yes, all the properties along the North US 1 are issued special event permits from the city of Ormond Beach. So they would be governed by whatever decision is made for this upcoming October.
Okay, so needless to say, this has a huge impact. I mean, Daytona, basically Bike Week is Main Street, in Daytona. And then we've got all, North US 1 up through and including Destination Daytona. So it's a big decision. And it's actually your decision, Joyce, but you're asking for our input, right?
I am. I think it's a big decision, but I think you need to know where your staff is coming from and what our concerns are.
Sure, absolutely. No, the communication is great.
I agree. Good to have the communication, good to have time to hear our residents and our businesses, hear their input. And so we'll look for that next Tuesday and go from there. Did you have other items, Joyce?
Unfortunately, I do, and I'll try to be quick about it.
No problem.
Wanted to let you know that we have our summer camp ends this week. We had good participation in that program. About 93 to 95% of the people that registered stayed for the whole program. It was significantly smaller than years past, but that was good. So we were really happy about that. Our reservation process for both pickleball and the gymnasium to play basketball has worked well. The Children's Musical Theater has been using the PAC for the summer, so that's been a good thing. We've had some classes ongoing in different areas like the casements and the EDC, and those are socially distanced classes. The sports complex, if you drove past Nova Road in the late June, you saw it full up with kids finishing their OBYBSA stuff, so we're very happy about that. Some other issues ongoing. We've been talking about transportation needs for a while. and certainly the Fdot project for adaptive signalization on SR40. Fdot has indicated that they're going to be holding a pre-construction meeting this week for that project. That's likely 150 or 160 odd days of construction for that project. So we're hoping it will be done by the end of the year. So that's a big project we waited a long time for. One other big item that I just want to let you know where we're at, Sandbag Distribution. We're trying to do a better job of offering more opportunities for sandbags during the hurricane season. And we'll be releasing some information to the public later this week. We're going to be offering some self-serve locations. We're going to be offering assisted service locations where staff will help you fill the bags. We will offer delivery opportunities for those with special needs or elderly when they can't get out. And they'll complete a form online and we will deliver those bags. So we're looking at a variety of opportunities to spread the crowd out and to make sure that as many people get sandbags as they need. So other than that, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Joyce. And I know making sure that that's a socially distanced process has been an effort for staff, but I appreciate your hard work as we keep an eye on the tropical situation always. And any other questions for Joyce at this time, Commission? Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, yeah, and it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. Joyce, you are the best in the business. We have a city that fills sandbags for our residents, puts them in their trunk when they pull up, but yet you are coming up with more ideas and ways to make it easier, more streamlined, and better for our residents. And it always blows my mind when I watch hurricane season in any other coastal community and I see these individuals filling their own sandbags with shovels out there, and Ormond Beach always goes above and beyond, and here you are trying to make it even better than what it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you, Joyce.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. We'll move on to Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley.
Good evening. It's great to see you all. And I just want to say I appreciate how well you're working to keep everything going under this new normal and make tough decisions. And I think as a city, we're all working together, just do a fantastic job. So thank you. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Claire. And City Attorney Randy Hayes.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything to add this evening. Just appreciate everything that you're doing, and everybody stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And then tonight we start reports, suggestions, and requests with Deputy Mayor Kent.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just have one comment that I'll share tonight. And you all know, you've heard me say it many times, I've been on this commission with the mayor 17 years. And just a couple weeks ago, our youngest son, Wyatt, turned 14. So the city commission is all Wyatt has known, and many of you have known Wyatt since the day he was born. And a couple of things have happened in this year with Wyatt Kent. He not only learned about distance learning at school and finished his middle school career that way, but he grew 6 inches. And during his birthday was the red snapper season. And I just want to show you all the dedication of this young man on his birthday. My buddy was in the water as a spotter 22 miles out telling us what we were reeling up. And Wyatt thought he was going to lose this fish. So he jumped in and netted this red snapper. And if that's not dedication and all kinds of just good, great stuff, there's a proud father right here. And, you know, I've always, Shaquille O'Neal always gave nicknames to his favorite NBA players. And Vince Carter, who, you know, is from our area, he said Vince Carter was half man, half amazing. So since Wyatt was a little boy, I've told him he's half boy and half amazing. And this is the proof in the pudding. He was not going to lose that fish. He jumped in. So I say a belated happy birthday to my son and a good night to Ormond Beach.
Great. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And now we go to Commissioner Persis.
Good evening, everyone. Deputy Mayor Ken, I love your story. You know, those of us that grew up here, you know, we all went fishing, and I can certainly relate to Wyatt jumping in because I would have done the same thing. That is a great story. I love it. Love it. I just had to say that. And those snappers look amazing. I saw them on Facebook. Great eating. My comment tonight is, you know, I know we're all concerned with the COVID and we're all trying to keep everybody safe. And I know everybody's doing everything they can to do so. And I know the city especially is. I just want to thank, you know, Joyce Shanahan and Mayor Partington. I love the proclamation about wearing masks. I know I mentioned that before. But it's just, you know, the more you hear about wearing masks, then the more you realize that's one of the safest ways, one of the ways to best stay safe. So I just really like that a lot. I also wanted to, you know, since Sandbag for just mentioned, you know, we have some storms out there, and I just have a feeling, you know, 2020 has been such a funny year. I'm just sure we're going to have a hurricane too after everything we've been through. So I just hope that, you know, maybe we can advise and just remind the citizens of Ormond Beach, maybe you want to get some preparations done, have some things on hand. So everybody, there's not so many crowds out there at the last minute. It just might be prudent to do that. Hopefully we won't get a hurricane, but like I said, I just think this year, 2020, I think we're getting it all. It looks like it. But I just wanted to mention that maybe we could do that. Maybe we could talk to Jen to put it on our Facebook page or something. And again, I just want to tell all of you, I too, I think I heard Commissioner Littleton say, I love being on the Ormond Beach City Commission. And I do too. It's one of the highlights of my life. And I am so grateful to be able to work with all of you and serve the city of Ormond Beach. And so those are my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner Littleton.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll close quickly tonight by telling everyone, please stay safe from COVID and the possible tropical storm we might have this weekend. Good night.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Selby.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first of all, everybody, good evening. And I just really had a couple of things I wanted to comment on. Number one, I'm grateful to the school board for taking the lead and committing to getting schools open, getting kids back into school. I know they've created some options, and I think that's a good thing moving forward. And the other comment I wanted to make was that that the improvements that have recently been completed to the lawn of the casements, between the casements and Granada, look fantastic. If you haven't been by there, you know that what used to be a gigantic depression is now basically level with the street. And I think it'll be a much more usable area, you know, especially with the underground water retention that was put in there. So kudos to staff and planning and the Casements Guild for their involvement in making that happen, because I think that'll be, especially in inclement weather after a big rainstorm, that'll be a much improved area, not unlike the park when those improvements were made a few years ago, east of, or west of there. So with all that, I'll say good night and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Selby. And I have heard rave reviews about that section of the casements. A big improvement, like you said. I've also gotten emails and seen rave reviews about the palms that are going in on Granada. Just making our city look fantastic. And our staff works so hard and tries so hard to be responsive to the needs of the residents and also continually improving the city. The boat dock is another example of something that our residents are just raving about. And so it's wonderful to see those things happen, to see how heavily they get used and enjoyed, which is the point of it, creating a sense of place for our city. And so that's a great thing. Commissioner Persis, I think letting our residents know about storm prep is a wonderful idea. We all cringe a little bit because we don't want to think about storms along with everything else we've been through this year, but it's good to have extra water on hand. It's good to have some batteries on hand. There's a whole list, and I know Jen does a great job getting that information out there. So I would like to see that as well, just as a reminder. People are going to know because it's going to be in the news as these storms start to come. And I think, within the next week or so, we're going to start seeing those posts. So that's wonderful. I voted. Don't know if anybody could see my sticker or not, but I voted by mail today. And it was the simplest thing. I called Lisa Lewis's office, let them know that's what I wanted to do. They sent me the ballot. I filled it out, put it in the secrecy envelope, stuck it in the postage paid envelope, and just stuck it in the mailbox. Lisa Lewis has done an incredible job making that vote by mail process easy. Not only does she give you a sticker along with your little package that she sends out to you, but she's got a cover sheet now on the back of the envelope that protects your personal information and even your signature. And I thought that was really super smart and well done. So just wanted to send out some kudos to her for that. I was able to vote comfortably in a socially distanced way, and other than going to the mailbox, not really having to leave the comfort of my own home. So with that, thank you, commissioners, for 2 good meetings today. We had the combined Budget Advisory Board City Commission meeting workshop, and then tonight's commission meeting. We will see you all next week for our regular first meeting in August, and that will be virtual as well. And then we'll go from there. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.